Ahoy! And welcome to the Boating Hour with Captain Rick. The Boating Hour brings you the latest and greatest essential information about everything that sails, floats, or motors upon the high seas of Southern California. From landlubbers to old salts, there'll be something for everyone. So climb aboard and get ready to sail with Captain Rick.
Ahoy out there, and welcome to the Boating Hour. I'm Captain Rick, and I want to thank you for joining us here on AM 870. We're here every Saturday at 4 p.m., and please be sure to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com, and now on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble, The Boating Hour with Captain Rick. Thanks to our sponsors for our show today. For a healthy gut, the best probiotic on the market, Livia One Probiotics, natural, organic, and allergen-free, and Raycom Radio's reliable two-way communications throughout Southern California. Well, this is Memorial Day weekend, and Fleet Week at the Battleship Iowa is going on as we speak all weekend long, clear through Monday with exhibits and all kinds of fun stuff. Make it down to San Pedro, and you'll see the Coast Guard and the Coast Guard Auxiliary booth there, as well as all kinds of other stuff. They also have police force and fire department, and you can get a tour of the Battleship Iowa. Well, last week was the Torrance Armed Forces Parade. Wonderful parade. If you didn't run in the 5K, plan on it next year. It's the oldest, longest running, most prestigious parade in the country. Been going on. This is the 62nd Armed Forces Parade that was down in Torrance. So again, I have my guest. Thanks for coming back. Rudy Lopez from the National Public Affairs for the Coast Guard Auxiliary. Thanks for joining us.
Captain Rick, a pleasure. Thank you.
That was a fun show last week. You know, the previous week we had Colonel Walsh, and she was featured at the Armed Forces Parade. So she's the commander for the Space Force. The Space Force Base Delta 3, they call it, the U.S. Space Force. So a career lady that's going to be in Washington. And the Grand Marshal was Lieutenant General Philip Garant. So amazing gentlemen. They had all kinds of dignitaries. The announcer, I want to put a plug out there for the announcer, Emmett Miller. I hear him every year. Absolutely fantastic. I stood right by and listened to him. I'm trying to learn from Emmett Miller. He's just so fantastic. So, Emmett Miller, you do a great job of being the announcer. You've done it every year. Also, at the Torrance Armed Forces Parade, all the cadets got sworn in. So what a wonderful thing. If you missed it this year, put it on your schedule for next year. Well, I wanted you back, Rudy, because I want to talk about Boater Safety Week. So it's a national event. So tell us how you know how it started, but I know it's all over the nation at the same time.
Well, it became evident across the country that there was a need to educate the public because they started to see with the popularity, especially coming off of the times when people were struggling, then the economy took a turn years ago. People started investing in boats, and they started to see a rise in injuries and, unfortunately, fatalities. So they came up with this National Safe Boating Week, which really just encouraged safety, and it's taken off. So our responsibility as Coast Guard Auxiliary is to be the people that are going to go out and promote boating safety in every way we can. And we're using, for instance, this weekend when we have Fleet Week, we have a booth out here, and we are providing that kind of information to the public so they can be safer on the water.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's I learned about Boater Safety Week being in the auxiliary. So I didn't really know what it is, but it is exciting. It's every year at this time. Starts at Memorial Day weekend?
Right. It does include that. As you can tell, this weekend, this whole week was something really public-oriented. We had the Armed Forces weekend last weekend, and then we have National Safe Boating Week starting on that Saturday through Friday. And then, of course, Fleet Week we have all weekend long this weekend, and we're using those opportunities to reach out to the public and really get them educated. So it's turning into a fun thing, and it really is. I mean, here it is. You have a place where you have all the branches of service that are available in one spot, and they have all of, and I will call them toys, but you can talk about all the equipment that they use to enhance what they do, and the public gets up here and they can board on helicopters. They can take a look at the tanks. They can look at, we have in our Coast Guard Auxiliary and the active duty, we have a couple of vessels where you can come on, climb aboard, take a look at the equipment they use. We have Coastie, which is our little robot, which is, I think, more popular with the adults than they are for the kids. But I tell you,
yes,
it is a wonderful toy to bring people over, and they accumulate, and this gives us an opportunity to talk shop with all the people that come by and visit.
You know, I don't know if you know this yet, but next year the featured branch is Army. And this is a big celebration. They're already planning it. It's going to be absolutely amazing next year. Featured branch Army. So they're going to have a concert. It's going to be the biggest presence they've ever had, because this is one of their, this is a big celebration for them. I'm not sure exactly. It's their 150th year. What's the?
I don't know the numbers of it. 2 years ago, well, actually, this year's is Space Force, but actually last year was the Coast Guard was the honor branch of service.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
That was a big deal because we hadn't seen that. If you remember, COVID shut down this big event that City of Torrance is proud to have. We weren't able to do anything for 3 years. And so when they came back, just before COVID hit and they shut down, the Coast Guard was, in fact, the selected branch of service to be honored, but we weren't able to because COVID shut that down. So coming back last year was the first time we've had activity, and they brought back the Coast Guard. And it was a big, huge event for everybody affiliated with Coast Guard and Coast Guard Auxiliary. We had people like Beau Bridges, the actor. He's former Coast Guard, so he was one of the...
he and his brother.
And his brother, right. So they were he was there, and he really added to the event. It was a big, big deal, and we loved that. So being a part of every branch of service when they're being honored 1 year at a time is honorable for us to be even part of that. So we're happy to see our brothers and sisters in the branches of service, that they're being recognized like they are, and we congratulate City of Torrance for doing such a wonderful job.
Yeah, it was a real exciting thing. I really enjoyed it. Just not just the Coast Guard being the featured branch, but the 5K and how excited everybody that came. There was about 120,000 people, I think, over there.
Amazing turnout. Yeah, we're pleased to see that, and so it gives me an opportunity. We still have a couple of days. We have Sunday and Monday, even Monday the holiday, but all the booths are going to be available. We're going to invite as many of you public listeners that are part of the show to come visit us. And I would encourage that if you happen to hear this radio station, come by our booth and tell us that you heard us and let us know that you are listening to your show, Captain Rick. But they come by, and I'd love to be able to talk shop with building safety here at our Coast Guard booth.
Yeah, and I tell you, I don't know who enjoys it more, the young kids or the adults.
I'm telling you, it's the whole event is just nice to be out, and plenty of places to go eat after you're done. It's all local, but what a great community event.
Last year at Fleet Week, I'm so excited to tell you that I got a clock that was made from one of the planks when they were repairing the battleship Iowa.
I'll be darned.
And I was running around with my camera, and they maintain that boat in their exotic teak wood. I think that's what it is. And they were replacing something, and they only had a couple of them, and they had one left over. They were honoring some people that came, and I got the last one. I'm so excited. It's proudly in my kitchen from the plank of the battleship Iowa.
That's good. That's great. Well, one of the things is that you can board the Iowa while you're there for this whole weekend. And one additional item, if you notice, and if you haven't seen that our U.S. Coast Guard cutter, the Terrell Horn III, is one of the cutters that's docked, and the Coast Guard is also offering tours of that vessel. So anybody who wishes to come by, they can go by and board and see one of our Coast Guard vessels.
I was at the dedication of the Terrell Horn, but I've never been on it. I think I'm going to make sure I do that tour. So the Terrell Horn, of course, and they named the galley down at L.A. Long Beach. It's named after Terrell Horn.
Yeah, it's you understand the history of that. It's an honorable thing to have.
Yeah, tell us the
name.
history.
Well, in most cases, you see that all the vessels are named after. You've seen it lately. Those that have crossed the bar. In this case, Mr. Terrell Horn was killed in action, and so they dedicated a vessel in his name, and it's an honorable. So it happens to be a vessel that's assigned to Sector Los Angeles Long Beach, which is part of the Coast Guard base there on Terminal Island, and they're shifted over so they could be part of this Fleet Week to give others an opportunity to see the tools of the trade, if you will.
Everybody in Marina Del Rey, we all knew him. He was on the Halibut, the cutter that's based in Marina Del Rey. He was very visible, as is a lot of the active duty. They go to the yacht clubs, and their presence is known. So it was really a tragic thing, when he passed. I'm glad they honored him with that. It really is fantastic. Well, if you're just joining us now, you're listening to the Boating Hour. I'm Captain Rick. I'm here every Saturday at 4 p.m., and please be sure to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com and now all over social media. Thanks to our sponsors for our show today. For a healthy gut, the best probiotic on the market, Livia One Probiotics, natural, organic, and allergen-free, and Raycom Radios, reliable two-way radio communication throughout Southern California. So if you want to reach them, look at their website, mra-raycom.com. Raycom Radios. And so Fleet Week at the Battleship Iowa going on clear through the holiday, Memorial Day weekend. So tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. But joining us now, I want to welcome Captain Dave from the Mahalo Robalo. Thanks for joining me today.
You're so welcome. I'm glad to be on again.
And I've got Rudy Lopez, National Public Affairs for the Coast Guard Auxiliary. So we talked last week about the Torrance Armed Forces Parade and about the Fleet Week at the Battleship Iowa. So with us, Rudy Lopez. Say hi to Dave.
Captain Dave, nice to meet you, sir.
Hey, how you doing, Rudy?
Very well, my friend.
Well,
Hope we can get out and catch some fish one day.
Well, Dave, you'd be really proud of me. I had a guest on, Miles. He runs the Anglers at Delray Yacht Club. He's also part of the Westwood Hunting and Fishing Club. And I joined the Santa Monica Elks and his group. I'm the newest honorary member as of last month. So you have to teach me a little bit about fishing before everybody knows I have no idea how to fish.
You're on. We'll make that happen.
So what have you been doing? Tell us what you've been doing, and tell us about your relative that was in the Coast Guard.
Well, I thought we would cover a little bit about the weather first.
Okay, let's do that.
Just because, all these boaters that are listening, I know they want to hear that April awful is over. We got May gray coming, and now we're into June gloom. But I think we're going to be pretty good long about 4th of July. It's going to clear out really well. So I think all this gloomy stuff is going to go away right on schedule this year, for us West Coasters.
So are we looking at a hot summer? Are we looking at good weather? What's going to go on the rest of the summer?
Yeah, I think we're going to have a very, very warm, second part of summer. And it looks like the currents out in the ocean are doing really well. They're bringing in lots of pelagics right now. So all the fishermen are very, very happy. And I think we just got to be careful as boaters out there with when the fog banks come in and out. That also brings in that awful wind. And so you got to be a little careful about how fast you go out in the ocean because, it kicks up the waves a little bit.
What did you call April, May, and June again? April awful, May. What did you?
May gray and June gloom.
Oh, okay, April awful, May gray, and June gloom. I love that. It's going to be my new logo. That's fantastic. So I joined this club. Miles was on my show, and I'm going to start covering. No, he's got a big event in Marina Del Rey, the Halibut Derby, coming up June 1st.
Yes. Yeah, I can't wait. I will be monitoring that. I can't fish in it. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town, but I will be monitoring it.
Okay, well, that's coming up. It's coming up next week.
This is one of the first years in 20 that we're actually going to be able to go out and catch some halibut.
Oh,
and so we're gonna. The limits have been coming with halibut this year. It's unbelievable how good the fishing is right now.
Yeah, that's what Miles said, and he's been running this for a couple of years, and he's got all kinds of different classes, and he's got the paddleboard tournament, he's got the kayak tournament, and then of course the teams, and he's got some awards for women as well. All right, what else?
And I think this year it's going to be probably 4 times larger than it was last year, because everything is opened up and the fishing's good, and I'm just really happy everybody's ready to start supporting sport fishing again, and then all the organizations that these tournaments provide for. It's fantastic.
He's already told me that he's got more youngsters registered. A lot of people register last minute. It's only a week away in Marina Del Rey, so the halibut fishing derby. So he said more youngsters this time and more young girls as well, and women, and than ever before. So it's going to be a real successful one. I'll be there. I'll be there with my camera, and I'll maybe help weigh the fish and learn a little bit about how to run a tournament. So that's what I'll be doing. What else has been going on with you? What have you been fishing with?
I've been traveling a lot, and I've been fishing a lot, freshwater and trout and stripers out of the aqueduct, and it's been really fun. So I've been spending a lot of time with family. Unfortunately, I was just at my cousin Guy Bechtel's funeral, and he was in the Coast Guard, and I really want to give a big shout out to AMVETS and the Coast Guard for the job they did at his funeral. It was awe-inspiring. Anytime you hear taps, you just feel so American. And then the class of, the 21-gun salute and all that. And so my cousin was he served up in Eureka for a decade or so. And I just wanted to, give a little shout out because I'm thinking about him when you ask me about what I've been doing, and it's Fleet Week and Coast Guard and all that stuff. But, I don't want to take up too much time with this, but yeah, he was a great guy, served in the Coast Guard. Coast Guard did an amazing service for him. Everybody deserves to have this if they serve.
That must have been amazing, a 21-gun salute. Wow. I'm going to have Tom Lasser, who works with AMVETS, so I'm going to thank him. He'll be on my show in a couple of weeks. So he was very active in both the Torrance Armed Forces Parade, which happened to, and of course this week in the at the Battleship Iowa with Fleet Week. So he'll come. He's from AMVET, and he works with them, and he works with a couple different organizations, with a lot of the vet organizations. Boy, I tell you, that must have been awe-inspiring. So to hear taps, and so they said someone from the one of the vets or someone from the Coast Guard actually came out and played taps.
Well, they all work together. Okay. The armed forces, and this is in Central Valley, so this was in Visalia, California, and it was a really big to-do. We had lots and lots of servicemen come and just be there for this event. It wasn't just like a couple of people. It was the whole brigade. Oh, it was pretty awe-inspiring.
Yeah, well, I get that same feeling when I go to the parade, and the vets marched. Wonderful presence that they have in the parade, and also at the this weekend all going on. So what's looking for the rest of the summer and the rest of the year for fishing? Is it going to continue to the end of the year? We're going to get some. Are we going to have a hot summer and then a cold winter coming up?
I believe the ocean is changing right now. It's going from El Nino to a La Nina, and it's going to happen really, really fast. The water temperatures are going to come up really fast, and then long about December they're going to really plummet because we're going to get an influx of this northern water, and it's going to dominate our coast for probably about 2 or 3 months. So instead of having, say, 59-degree water, we'll probably get down to 56, 55 over the next winter. But when you talk about 3 degrees of water, when you get into 59 degrees of water, you turn pink. When you get into 62-degree water, you're fine. So that's kind of the make break right there as far as hypothermia, that kind of thing.
I'm going to, instead of calling you Captain Dave, I'm going to call you Nostradamus Dave, because every time you've been on the show, and it's been a couple times, you've been spot on. I write it down. It's been amazing, how you follow the weather, how you understand what goes on with the current, with the oceans, and it's so foreign to most people, even boaters. Most of the boaters I know don't really pay attention. We just ask people who know.
Well, there's those 3 volcanoes that are causing all these atmospheric rains, that we just got done with, and they're going to continue. So next year we're going to have the exact same thing happen. Those volcanoes, they seed the clouds, and here comes the rain. So it's a pretty nice thing, actually.
Wow. Well, I'm going to be getting out there, and I'm going to have to learn how to fish so that my new club doesn't know that I'm really an amateur.
Well, Rick, we've been waiting decades for you to do this with me, so I'm ready.
Right. Well, it's been exciting. So, Rudy, tell me something. What are we looking forward to the rest of the summer with the Coast Guard Auxiliary and the Coast Guard? And let's plug the Fleet Week a little bit at the Battleship Iowa as well before we have to tune off.
Well, I just want to make sure that everyone realizes that with all the booths that we got from all the branches of service, we have the vessels that people can tour and board. The USS,
the vessels.
Right, the USS Iowa, and then the Coast Guard cutter Trail Horn will be there, and then of course with all the equipment that each of the branches of service have. Everybody can come out, take a look, handle some of the equipment, get on board. Visit our booth with the active duty. They have our trailered vessels that you can climb aboard as well and get to learn about the equipment that we get to use. And so it's going to be good. We got a couple more days of this, and then we'll look forward to doing this again next year. But if I may, I do have a question for Captain Dave, if I may.
Go ahead.
Captain Dave, I am a fisherman, and late August I'll be taking out a trip with my son to San Diego to H&M Landing, and we've been trying to get the bluefin. And the last couple of years, the weather hasn't been either perfect for that or the conditions. So what can you forecast for me, sir?
I can forecast that you will catch bluefin this year, almost guaranteed. The trick with the bluefin, and I don't want to knock the sport boats or anything, but if you go 2 or 3 days before or after a full moon, it's very hard to catch them unless you're knife jigging at night.
Okay.
And if you want to go out and you want to knife jig, you can catch the fish at around the full moon. But other than that, I can almost guarantee you're going to go out and catch bluefin.
Wow.
There is so many coming in, and they're accessible. And the most important thing now is that because of all our conservation, they're plentiful.
Oh, good. Well, you just encouraged me. I really value the time I have with my son, so it's father-son time when we get out. That's a charter. But this time, if we're going to catch some fish, that's all I want to hear.
There is nothing better, and if you want to go out and just catch some fish, just give me a holler, and I'll take you guys out. That's easy.
You are on, Captain. Thank you.
God, this has been wonderful having you both on. And I tell you, Rudy, let me know when you come up shore. I'll help you eat the fish.
Okay, I can do that.
You know, I've been out. When Dave goes out, he cleans the fish before he gets back. While we're coming in the shore, he's like one of the best, cook I've ever met. Dave, you should open Captain Dave's fish restaurant.
Well, I'm always ready for some tempura fish and chips.
You make the greatest. That's one of the things that I got to learn how to do. Well, it's been great. Thanks for both of you for coming on. Again, Fleet Week going on right now, clear through Monday. So happy Memorial Day, and I hope you made it to last week to the Armed Forces Parade down there in Torrance. So, Rudy, I want to thank you for coming on and talking about Boater Safety Week and about both of those events.
It's always a pleasure, Captain Rick. I just I value the time I have with you, and we're able to get the message out to your listeners, so we thank you for that very much.
Yeah, I've had some amazing guests this last month. I started last year where I was promoting the Coasties was the featured branch, so I had a whole month of Coasties. I did it again this year, and I put in the Space Force. So I'll be doing that, and and the Coast Guard had almost the same footprint, even though we weren't the featured branch. So a lot of assets out there, a lot of stuff to see at the Battleship Iowa in San Pedro. So going on the rest of today and tomorrow Sunday and Memorial Day Monday. So this has been fantastic. So thanks, Dave, for coming out, and thanks, Rudy, for coming back this week.
It's awesome. Thank you.
Well, that's all the time that we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed our show. As always, we're so very fortunate to have such wonderful and exciting guests, and I want to thank our in-studio guest today and Dave for coming on. And let's not forget the Coasties, protecting our waters, America's lifesavers and guardians of the sea. Remember, if you do it right and follow the guidelines and safety precautions, there's no place like being out on the water in the fresh air and sunshine in beautiful, sunny Southern California. Here at the Boating Hour with Captain Rick, we cover everything that sails, motors, and floats from San Diego to Santa Barbara. Thanks for being with us today, and please be sure to join us next week and every Saturday at 4 p.m. on AM 870. We got a lot of fantastic guests coming up. Thanks to our sponsors for our show today. For a healthy gut, Livia One Probiotics, natural organic and allergen-free, and Raycom radios, reliable two-way radios throughout Southern California without drop zones, dead batteries, and the inherent limitations of all the other communication systems. Mobile Relay Associates, Raycom radios. Visit them on the web, mra-raycom.com. That's mra-raycom.com. And probiotics, Livia One Probiotics, on the Captain Rick website, theboatinghour.com. Don't forget to visit us on the web and now on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Coming up next week and all throughout the month of June, some fantastic guests for you. Keep your emails coming. This is Captain Rick. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Ahoy and fair winds to all.